Greetings, Sean. VenomFangX. I've noticed you've come back to YouTube. I think everyone's noticed that. So welcome back. And you put out a couple of new videos, the latest being the limitations of science and scientism. So I am going to try to make a response to that. I tried to make one earlier today, back when the video was still fresh. I think it had been out for about 2, maybe 3 hours. But that response was lame, and I decided to take some time and really gather my thoughts, put them in order, and now this is take 2 of my response to you. So, let's begin. I'm going to start my, I guess, rattling off of the qualms that I have with your argument, exactly where you started your argument, which is with the analogy between your painting, which was a very lovely painting, by the way, it was pretty cool, with the analogy between that and the universe. So just as where science can tell us all the physical properties of the painting, but cannot tell us certain things such as who created it, or what the intention behind it was, or such things like this, it's the same way with the universe, isn't it? Science will never be able to tell us who created the universe, if someone did, or what the intention behind the universe was. You make this very clear in your video. But you do have to consider this. Science, as far as the painting goes anyway, science will still be able to demonstrate to us that the creator does exist. What do I mean by that? I mean that if I were to look at your painting, of course, and I had not known that you had painted it before, then of course there's no way that I'd be able to tell using science that you are the one who created it. However, if I were to come up to you on the street, encounter you somehow, right, science would be able to tell me that the man standing in front of me does in fact exist. Now let us apply this to the analogy with the universe. Science can of course tell us that the universe exists and tell us all sorts of physical facts about it and things of that nature, but of course it cannot point us to God. It cannot tell us that God created the universe. But if God exists, we should still be able to find him. In the same way that if I'd still be able to ascertain that you do exist through science, we should be able to do the same thing with God. Only then can we trust anything that he supposedly tells us. Now, you may be saying, oh, but God is a non-physical entity, which you have in videos in the past, and the thing is that even given the fact that science cannot point out that God created the universe, you still have to realize that everything in the universe follows a certain set of immutable laws that are discovered through science. Don't get me wrong, if the science weren't there, that is, if people weren't around to learn about the universe in such ways, or if they didn't possess the ability to do so, the laws would still be there, and everything in the universe would conform to them. Therefore, your God has to be a physical entity, and therefore should be detectable by science. Now you may ask, how does the secularist explain the universe coming into being? And as much as I would love to discuss this topic in this video, that would open up a whole new can of worms. It would make the video much too lengthy, and in any case, it doesn't really touch the subject matter that I really want this video to be about. So that's my first qualm, is that if God exists, we should still be able to find him through science. And I'm not saying that just because we haven't, that doesn't mean he doesn't exist. I'm just saying that we haven't yet. Therefore, there's still no reason to believe that he does, in fact, exist. Alright, so that's about the painting. That's my first qualm with your argument that you've made. Now I would like to go into what you said about the value of human life, and just values in general. Suppose that we had a conversation, and you said human life has value, and I said, no, I don't actually feel this way, but for the sake of the argument I do. I said that no, it doesn't. How would you go about demonstrating to me that your point of view is right and mine is wrong? You seem to come at this from an angle that human life has value, and this is just a truth that should be obvious. But obviously it's not if I don't see it that way. You know, maybe it may be obvious to you or other people, but at the same time it's not obvious to me or others who feel the same way as I do. So how would you go about demonstrating it? You seem to think that values are an innate part of the universe, but in the same way that physical things are. But they're not. They're subjective. They exist within the minds of people. I'm not saying that they're not real. I'm just saying that, well, just that. They're not an innate part of the universe. There's nothing for them to be really obvious about because it differs from person to person. Now, if we go back to the example of human life, where you say that human life has value and I say it doesn't, how would you go about demonstrating that your point of view is ultimately correct, that human life actually does have value? It would be a matter of you saying, yes, it does, and me saying, no, it doesn't, and we can't really get anywhere from that point. Now, you might say that, oh, God is what gives human life value. I win. Well, that's not really a fair response, is it? Because if you're trying to use value, the existence of values, in order to demonstrate that God exists, and then you point to God in order to demonstrate that these values exist, then you're falling into the trap of circular reasoning, which is what you warned about at the very beginning of your video. So I would like to very much know how you would respond to that as well. And my third qualm is this. At the end of your video, after you've built up a case for the universe having a creator and having a purpose and an intent behind it, you immediately point to the Bible. Why is this? What's so special about the Bible that makes it more trustworthy than any other source that claims to have originated with God or whatever divine being there is, such as the Quran or, I don't know, the various multitudes of other mythoses that have existed in the past? So, yeah, that was my video response to you, VenomFangX. I hope that you will find this response worthy enough to warrant responding back to. But those are my thoughts for today. So this has been The Insane Bastard, and peace out.